I think anytime you get a phone call from your state's two senators to tell you that they're going to recommend you for a job to the President of the United States, it's a humbling experience. So why me? I think, I can only speak, I don't actually know what anyone else said in the process. I only know what I said. And what I focused on very much was vision for the office and addressing the threats to our community. So in terms of other areas, though, the guidance that I get is it is very much guidance to tailor our resources and our law enforcement approach to the needs of our district. And the needs of our district, this is not going to be a surprise to any of you or to your readers, are very obvious. The first being what I would call narcotics overdoses, and it's not just limited to opioids anymore, which I think is something we can discuss further. But narcotics and related overdose deaths is clearly an area of need here and a persistent criminal threat. And the second area is what we see, particularly in our largest cities, rising rates of violent crime and shooting-related violence. And those two areas they do fit in, I think, with what the national priorities of the Department of Justice are, but they are unique and specific to our district as well. So let me back up for a second. The way that I have approached this job and the way that I think about this job is I get a lot of numbers that come across my desk. How many kilos have been seized? How many guns got taken off the streets in a particular city? How many months of imprisonment did somebody get? But the one number that I am most focused on is how many people have died as a result of criminal conduct in our district. And that relates to both the narcotics overdose epidemic as well as violent crime. And that's a number that I keep very close personal track of, and we talk about it all the time. We talk about ways that we can implement strategies that will drive those numbers in the right direction. And when it comes to overdoses, the challenge there is, I don't have any other way to describe it other than to say that this is a generational crisis that we're facing. Coming up with a way for us to have a common data set that we can work from. We've got all these people that are doing very good work. Hospitals are doing great work. Individual healthcare providers are doing great work. And there are treatment professionals that are doing fantastic work. We've also got people who are emergency responders who are saving people every single day. We've got law enforcement officers who are out there responding to overdoses and saving people every day. But we don't all have the same common set of data that informs us about the nature of the crisis or what we can do to address and target our resources to affect those people who are most likely to suffer from an overdose in, say, the next 2 weeks or 30 days. And that's something I'm very interested in seeing if we can come up with a common solution on this. And I think we have all the right people. My predecessors were very good about getting all the right people at the table, and I'm very lucky and very fortunate that they did that. And now I think that the conversation needs to shift to how do we make sure that we're pooling all the information that we have. Successful, probably the most successful firearms trafficking case that I've witnessed, at least as far as being the U.S. attorney, where there were, I think, 11 total indictments involving even the sale of a machine gun by a former registered federal firearms licensee. So that's a very significant case, and that's exactly the kind of model for the way that we need to be approaching these cases across the district. It's not just about taking the person with the gun in their pocket off the street. That's a part of it, but I think we are obligated to figure out, where did that gun come from? Was it from a straw purchase sale? Was it from a residential burglary? Was it from a burglary of a gun store? Was it from a vehicular burglary? These are the four primary avenues where we know that firearms are ending up on our streets. And we have got to figure out, as often as we can, where the firearm that ended up on the street came from, and try to tie those back to either a bad dealer or a series of burglaries to figure out who's getting the guns on the street.